Good afternoon, Flush Tube. This is my 2016 year in review. So this is an update on all the stitching that I've done in 2016 and some of the projects that I've managed to get finished, some fully finished and some that will continue on, some that got started in 2016 and some that are still a continuation from 2015. So I think I'll begin by firstly saying thank you to everybody that subscribes to me and continues to be really supportive. It is very much appreciated, and I look forward to hearing from you all and your continued support in 2017. But to the stitching. So I think the best thing for me to do, I've decided, is because obviously throughout the year when I do my monthly updates on my works in progress, you will see where I'm at, some projects where I've worked on maybe had a focus piece for more than 1 month, or you know, just 1 month. I think what would be better is for me to start, and what I'm going to do is show you for the pieces that got brought through from 2015 to 2016. Let me just adjust. I feel it would be better for me to show you where I actually started. So my first video, which I think was in February 2016 of this year, where I was on those projects and where I am now. So I feel that would be better rather than sort of doing it from where, you know, from a month ago or whatever. So let's start possibly with my oldest works in progress. This was initially started, cat problem, hold on, no. This was initially started in 2014. And it became what I would call a UFO. I didn't work on it after that date until June this year. So I feel that officially qualified it as a UFO, and by the time I come to work on it again, it would have been another year. I'm working on it in my wine and whips scenario, which is in June this year, and or this year, and will be in June next year, I believe. So that would be the bride. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert a picture here of Lavender Lace, the bride, of where I was at the beginning of the year on that piece. So here's the Lavender Lace, the bride picture here. And this is where I am now. Now this had a 1 month focus piece. Like I said, it's my wine and whips piece, so it's not, it doesn't have lots of work done on it, but I did get quite a bit completed. Unfortunately, where I left off, as you would have seen through in my June video, where I left off is quite a confetti heavy bit. But pretty much from here on out, other than a little bit here, sort of around this area, which is confetti, it will then go into big fabric folds of colour. Not many colours like this, and they'll come down here. So if I can get the confetti bit done this year, or in 2017, in the wine and whips, then I know that the rest of it will probably speed up because there's not so many colour changes and things like that. This does also contain beads. This is my only works in progress that is on Ada. This is on 16 count Ada. I believe it's oatmeal or rustico, I think is another name for it, but I'm not 100% sure because back in 2014 I didn't realise you needed to make so many notes about things because I wasn't necessarily planning on making a video when this was done. So But yeah, so this is the bride, my Lavender and Lace bride. Hold on. No. No. So yes, I'm really pleased with how that's coming along, and I'll be pleased to get her finished because she's part of my stitching history, and she is beautiful. Lavender and Lace designs are very pretty. I've got quite a few to do. So, Lavender and Lace, the bride. So that's the first one. So that was actually a continuation, started in 2014. I worked on her for a 1 month focus piece in 2016, and I'm looking to do a 1 month focus piece in 2017 for her. The next piece that I'm going to talk about is Creation, which if you've just watched my works in progress or my update video for 2016, the last one, you would have already seen this. But this is Creation. It was started in 2015. I do apologise. It was started in 2015. And Creation is a Tempting Tangles design by Deborah Dick. So that is the piece there. He's trying to lay on my project bags. The temptation is obviously too great. And what I'm going to do is insert a picture of where I was at the beginning of the year on Creation, and I'm going to insert that here. So that was my starting point at the beginning of the year. Now this actually had 2 months, potentially 2 months, was a focus piece for this year, and this I will have to move you and you're not going to like it, which is why I'm trying to stop you doing it now. This is where I am now. So quite a bit of progress really, considering that although it was 2 months, a focus piece for 2 months this year, it actually wasn't a solid 2 months. It was more like 6 weeks or something because of other stuff that I was doing. So that's Creation by Tempting Tangles, and at the moment I intend to work on it as a focus piece for 1 month in 2017. My next piece, let's have a look. Told you wouldn't like it. My next piece was a 2015 piece, and that was Glendon Place Sleepy Hollow. So that's here. And what I'm going to do is insert a picture of where I was at the beginning of the year in 2016 here. And this is where I am now, and again this actually was a 2 month focus piece this year. This can move quite quickly. I will be putting all the information on fabrics, changes of floss and things like that in the information box, because otherwise this will end up being a super long video to cover it all. But this is one of my favourite fabrics, and this is a sparklies fabric. So this I intend to have as a 1 month focus piece for 2017. So that's Sleepy Hollow. And think that is all the pieces that were started pre-2016 and are still continuing on to 2017. Now to the pieces that were started pre-2016 and finished, or whatever's happened to them. So the first piece, which I actually started in 2015, I believe, was a Liz Almond design. It was a free design. It was called Box of Delights, and I started that in 2015 and finished it this year in 2016, and actually managed to get it fully finished as well. I need to put a backing on it, but other than that, it's fully finished. So hopefully you don't get too much glare, but this is Box of Delights by Liz Almond. This is the whole design. You can just pick 4 or 1, or and this I used jodyridesigns antique silks within the little delights, mixed in with some just plain DMC. I used Kreinik and I used petite treasure braid for this, and I put it in a box frame, which I know there's an awful amount of glare, but so that just needs a backing on it, and it will go up on the wall in this room. So that was Box of Delights. So that was fully finished this year. Finished and fully finished. The next piece was a Christmas piece that I'd actually started in 2014. And I completed this year in 2016, but I haven't managed to fully finish it yet, which is a bit of a shame because it's a Christmas piece. And this is the primitive hare. I have actually got the pattern here. I pulled it out. This is the primitive hare, a Christmas Carol sampler. I've liked the primitive hare for a very long time, but I'm getting very much into this prim style of stitching. Particularly, and I'm hoping to be able to be part of the sale that she's hopefully doing for next year as well, because I missed out on the full moon sale this year and I regretted it after about 2 months of seeing the designs. I really like them, so I don't want to. I'm not generally one that jumps on the bandwagon with sales and things. I like to see how they're going to be, but I like a lot of her designs, so I think pretty much I'm going to be happy with anything. So I'm going to treat myself to the sale when it's released. So, but yes, so this is the Christmas Carol sampler by the Primitive Hare. And as I said, I started this in 2015, I believe, and I finished it this year. There was a few changes. I changed the writing on the bottom to suit what I wanted more, and I needed some more floss than initially charted, but I will put all that information in the information box below. But yeah, this is a really lovely piece. I'm really pleased with that, and because it's a classic, I'm not tempted to just have it as a Christmas piece. I would possibly frame it and have it up all year because it's a classic book. And I like classic books. So that was a piece that got finished this year as well, although not fully finished. Moving on to pieces that I started and finished this year. The first piece you've probably seen behind me. One of the first pieces that I finished was, I didn't get the pattern out. It's a Creations de Cristal design, and I framed this. I did alter some of it. I altered the alphabet in the sense of I changed the font. I added some beads to it. The beads wasn't charted in there, but all the colours that you see on here are the colours that were charted, just the additions. And I added, because I changed the alphabet, I added some little buttons to the blank space. And I also, this was on a Crafty Kitten limited edition 2015, January 2015 fabric. and because of it's square but not quite square, so a little bit awkward in shape, I actually added, which is a continental, I've noticed a shabby chic continental trick with a lot of their patterns. Kure Batikure do it, Madame Chantilly and things like that. They do a lot of this with some of their designs, and I added a piece of fabric along the bottom because this fabric just coincided that it matched quite well with the heart. So this was a charity shop frame that I picked up for less than £2, and I just painted it an off-white. I used an acrylic, and I just used white and then added a little bit of light ochre to it, so that you get and I mean a little bit, so that you get a creamy off-white colour as opposed to. But yes, I'm pleased with that design, and it is freestanding, although I may end up putting it on the wall in this room anyway, but I'm pleased. To me, this represents where my stitching was at and the sort of things that I was using when I stitched it. I stitched it in the sale of I Love Stitching or something, so it was ideal because it's on a hand-dyed fabric. I've used bead embellishments and other bigger embellishments and things like that. So, and there's some speciality stitches in there, only really easy ones. But so for me, this represented at that time where my stitching was at. So a little bit of like a history, my stitching history. So that was started and finished and fully finished this year in 2016. My next piece I started, as probably just, well, you would know from my other videos, my next piece I started in January. It was my New Year New Start, which was an Nora Corbett. It was the Peony Pixie. And that's here. That's what she looks like. And as discussed in my other video, if you've seen it recently, these are the ones, because of their colours and their brightness, and it's what I really like about them, these are the ones I like playing with colour with and being a little bit more rebellious. So yeah, so I stitched her, and I've managed to get her, I completed her in, started, completed and fully finished in 2016. So this is the Peony Pixie, and this is a hand-dyed fabric by Sparklies. It was an October limited edition in 2015, and it's about right, but a little bit greener. It's a mixture of lime greens to sort of mint blue greens, but I just feel it plays, colour plays with the fabric and the colours in her dress quite well as well. So that's the Peony Pixie. Sorry, leaning right over. Also an impromptu start, which you would have seen, was the what I called the Bethany Sampler, but it was actually the ABC Patissiere, and that's here. And I charted out the name Bethany and stitched that. I started and completed the Bethany Sampler this year, and recently fully finished it. I'm just going to link down. So you would have just seen this in the last video. So there it is. So this one's actually a gift, a Christmas gift, so that needs to be bubble wrapped and wrapped up, ready to give to her. So that's that one. My next one that I started was a Kure Batikure design. I started this in April Showers Brings May Flowers sale. And it's the Kure Batikure, and it's the Summer Garden. Hopefully you can see that. Now I haven't completed this piece, and this will be following on to next year as well, in 2017. But this is where, this was a 1 month focus piece, and this is where I'm at the moment. So I've got 2 of the flowers done, and I've moved down because it was easier on the scroll bar to, and that will be the sunflower flower underneath. But I love the purple, the lavenders go lovely because they match the blue, but I love the pop of the red in the poppies. So I intend for this to be a focus piece. For 1 month in 2017. So that's that piece. I know you can hear the vibration of my phone. I do apologise. Let's hope no one calls. Yeah, so that's kind of where oh, and of course I started a new Christmas piece, just in case you haven't seen the other video yet. I started a new Christmas piece in November of this year. That's the Sweet Christmas, also by Kure Batikure, that's there. And I'm working on that currently, the date being in December. I started that on the 1st of November. And I'm working on that currently now, and I doubt very much I'll get it finished going by the way things are going, but this will be at least a 2 months focus piece for next year, because I used November and December as a one project piece because of the amount of stitching time I actually managed to get in that time. So that is where I am at. Now, I did actually participate. I don't think I put them down actually. I did actually participate, maybe not the right word. I did actually sign up, would be the better word, to the Country Cottage Needleworks Gingerbread Village. And I completed the gingerbread train, and I completed the gingerbread girl and the peppermint tree, I think. And literally, I'm halfway through the first gingerbread house. I'm very much behind with it, because the Bethany Sampler come in, and I was using that as like my 2 projects a month, sort of trying to get a letter completed a month. So I haven't worked on that. For me, they're not classed as a works in progress as such, like as a complete work in progress. Because I won't fully finish them until I've completed all of them. It wasn't on one big design, I was doing them individually. But recently, and I think you should go and check it out for sure. I noticed it on the Facebook. It's the Country Cottage Needleworks Facebook page. There was a lady on there, and it was an Instagram account. It wasn't a name, but I'll make reference to it in the information below. Go because it was recently posted up. And what she's actually done is she's used some of the Country Cottage Gingerbread Village houses, and she's made little 3D houses. Now I know that exists, and I'm assuming, like I believed it was on plastic canvas and these sort of things. I've never done anything like that, but what a wonderful idea. And it really has got the little cogs working, and now I'm not so sure I want to work on them until I'm 100% sure what I want to do, because I would love to create a little 3D village. Now I know that that's a lot more stitching than just doing the little 9x9 pieces. but it was so lovely. I really, really liked that idea, and I was thinking maybe you could do it on perforated paper instead of plastic, the 3D, but I would need to work it out, do like a little design plan of action. So while I'm literally mulling that over in my head, that's just where I'm at with the Gingerbread Village. So at the moment I'm not working on them. I haven't been working on them all through the year because Bethany took over, and I wanted that had a deadline for Christmas. But equally as well, I didn't actually intend to stitch some of the country cottage needleworks at least in April, because it's houses, it's architecture. And I thought that's fine. I'll just try and get as many done as I can during the month of April. But now, and I may still do that, but now I'm not sure, because I really like this 3D design idea. So we will have to see what I end up doing with that. But yeah, I'm really pleased with my progress. Previous to 2016, I was a one works in progress person pretty much, other than the bride, which had become a UFO once I discovered evenweave and linen, which is unfair because I feel she still looks beautiful, and there's plenty of Ada stitches that the designs are stunning, so it's more of a personal preference for me on what I like to stitch on, and it's a learning curve, and I'm constantly learning new things all the time and being inspired by different things, which is what's great. But yeah, so this 2016 I started to introduce more than one project, or working on more than one project, and I was worried that I would become, and I have still got that cap. The way I work is there's 12 months in a year. Bear in mind that the Christmas I allocate 2 months for, so that's 11 projects. And in my mind, I can never have more than 11 projects on the go, because worst case scenario, if I never follow any other sales, then I will always be able to have at least 1 month's focus piece on a project. But actually, as that's happened, I've got quite a bit done, and I've got more completed done than I thought I would. I mean, I've had 4 fully finished objects, 1 finished object, so I've completed 5 this year, and I think they're quite substantial sized pieces as well. And I'm taking into next year, coming into 2016, I had 1, 2, this is where you should write it down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I had 5 pieces, but I started 3 pieces this year, 4 new pieces this year, and I'll be going, and 3 of those I've actually managed to get finished, started and finished this year. So next year I'll be going into 2017 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of pieces that I've started, and I intend to at least have 1 month's work on each piece. So I've obviously got room for new starts. I'm not going to show you the new starts. I've shown you my New Year new start, because like I said, I want to try and do that it always is a Nora Corbett. But I'm not going to show you my new starts on the basis that I think it's something that I quite like. I like surprises, good surprises, and I think that's something that, you know, as the months come up, it's like, oh, is it going to be a new piece, or is it going to be, I like that idea, is it going to be a piece that I'm pulling out and working on, or is it going to be a new piece? So I will be having some new starts next year, and I must admit, other than the Nora Corbett Tulip Pixie, it is going to be a pretty sampler heavy year next year in some way or another. A lot of my new starts are all samplers, but So yes, I would say that's my 2016 year in review. I'm pleased with the progress that I've made. I'm pleased with the way that I rotate things. It seems to be working for me. When it doesn't work for me, then obviously I will review the situation. But I am quite happy and pleased with where I'm at. I would like to start all the things. I do have those thoughts of like, oh, that's beautiful, or I'll buy that, or I could do that. But I have to have a limit because I could just, I don't want to be overwhelmed by my projects either, and I would feel like that. I've got no issue with anybody else, but and how many projects I've got, but I would feel overwhelmed and guilty for not working on things. So I feel that I'm comfortable with my limits and what I think is acceptable for me, and I'm happy with that, and like justifying to myself. But obviously I only work on things that I really enjoy working on, and that I love, and so really I'm in a win-win situation, you know. But yes, so I'm really pleased with how my rotation as such is working, or my guidelines of how I do things. I'm getting to introduce new things, but getting to work on things and getting to finish things and frame things, and you know, give some away as gifts and stuff like that. And I really like that, and I feel that's working. So that is the format that I'm going to take into 2017. So I'm sure you've heard me prattle on enough now. I thanked you all at the beginning of the video for being so supportive, and I still heartfelt thanks to all of you for that. I look forward to watching your videos. I am a little bit behind, but I do try to catch up. If there's any questions or anything like that, if you could just leave a comment, I will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for being a great group of people, and it's often been said, but stitching for me is therapy. It truly is, and it's my time out, and it's nice to be around people that appreciate and understand that, and I do feel privileged to be part of that. I will say that I will continue, even though sometimes late, that I will do at least a monthly video every month. I'll continue to try to do that. I will also say that I follow Facebook, not religiously, I don't get the time, but I follow Facebook and the Facebook groups and things, and I am going to try to be a bit more organised when it comes to saying, yes, I'm part of that sale, this is where I'm started, this is what I'm working on. I don't tend to post pictures or anything like that. I'm a little bit disorganised with stuff like that. So in 2017 I want to make a bit more of a conscious effort to be a bit more have a bit more input in some of the Facebook groups, because I do follow and I do watch, and I thoroughly enjoy it, but I don't really contribute maybe as much as I should. So I am going to try and do that. That's one thing that pretty much 2017 I'm going to start sort of beginning photos, what I'm working on this month, even if it's just once a month, but it's something like a bit of input. So anyway, that's me rattling on. As I said in my last video, 2016's been, stitching wise, has been a very good year for me. Otherwise not so much. Yeah, stitching and it has really helped, and you have all helped, even if you don't realise you're doing it. Watching your videos, looking at Facebook, watching your comments, it's very helpful sometimes in the darker times. But enough about that, let's talk about happy things. So yes, so thank you very much. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and Happy New Year. For certain, we may celebrate New Year. You may get dressed up, go out, watch the fireworks in the capital cities. You might stay at home with a lovely hot chocolate or alcoholic beverage, and just intend to sit there and stitch and watch black and white movies. All of that is fabulous. And I wish you all a happy new year. So thanks again, guys. Bye bye.